what he does now, and it's incredible. He basically just does enough to win. He
Yeah,
doesn't. He used to talk about in years gone by. I don't bother about results. I bother about my performances. It's now sort of turned full circle.
yeah.
It's now about not about the performances. It's about getting the wins, which makes him a much more dangerous proposition.
Like you say, he spent most of the week saying, "Oh, I'm playing rubbish. I'm not really as usual."
Yeah, he was saying like it wasn't at his best, but I mean he
Yeah,
did, as I said, he did qualify it, and well, certainly in the BBC studio anyway, by saying that. But he was trying his best just to do what he needed to do to get the result. And as I say, that makes them so much more tougher to beat for the rest of them.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing more frightening than Ronnie O'Sullivan that actually is going all out to win.
Exactly.
One thing I noticed in his post-match interview with World Snooker was that he said about himself he doesn't have the best cue action. He said that Trump and Robertson both
Mm.
had a better cue action. What do you think? Obviously, if you're not a player yourself, it's quite difficult to get into the nuts and bolts of cue action. Robertson is always regarded as one of the best. I know that, but what do you
Yeah.
think? Is it just that Ronnie's he's so good that it's sort of that the technique side of it goes out of the window a bit. He's
I,
just got his own thing.
I think he has got fantastic cue action. I think he's got great. He goes through the cue ball beautifully well. He strikes the cue
Yeah,
ball beautifully. When you watch closely, there's a lot of movement when he's sort of doing his waggles before he strikes the cue ball. There's a bit of
yeah,
movement in his body that is not textbook.
yeah.
Judd is certainly, you wouldn't say is textbook, because the way he aims and comes across the cue ball is so natural. But you couldn't teach that, and you certainly wouldn't want to coach Judd out of that. But if you look at the likes of Robertson, if you wanted to sort of build a snooker robot, that would be pretty much what you would look for, because it's so straight. But even with Neil, it's slightly to the side of his chin because he's got a more dominant eye. So middle of the chin would be
Yeah,
both eyes dominant. So even he's got his own sort of little quirk. But yeah, I mean, Robertson is probably the benchmark when it comes to technique and snooker.
I was going to suggest maybe he is a robot, but actually he's had his troubles this year. If you'd made a
Mm,
robot, if
yeah,
Robertson was a
well,
robot,
it's
he'd be
a
functioning a bit better.
malfunction.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a system failure if he is a robot.
yeah. Someone's poured water into his vent or something. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? If a player gets to has a certain level of talent, then like you said, there's sort of no point trying to pick apart their technique. They just do what they do and it works. So,
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
and that's, as we've said, Ronnie always exaggerates these things. His cue action must be decent, because otherwise he puts an awful lot of balls for someone that hasn't got a great.
Yeah, I mean, the control he has in the cue ball, you couldn't do that if you had a technical fault or a bad technical fault. Look, everyone misses pots, even Ronnie, and when you miss a pot, more often than not, it's down to see you haven't cued it properly, or something's gone wrong. But generally, the way he strikes the cue ball is as good as it gets, basically.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. So if you're listening, Ronnie, we think your cue ball striking is absolutely fine, and just keep,
I'm sure he's delighted that we're
yeah,
we're happy with it.
you will be, yeah. Just keep plugging away, Ronnie, and you will get there. Snooker can be tough, but you'll get there.